And once again, look at the two different attitudes. In verse 7, all the people began to mutter. But Zacchaeus stood up and said, Lord, if I've wronged any, first of all, I'm going to give half my possessions away to the poor, and if I've wronged anybody, I'm going to pay them back 4 times. Look at the two different attitudes. And how many of you know that attitudes affect actions? Attitudes affect actions. So if there's no Christian action in your life, it's probably because you have a bad or a wrong attitude. Because when we have a good attitude, that good attitude is going to produce good works. A bad attitude is going to produce nothing at all. Is anybody with me this morning? And look at verse 7. The people saw Zacchaeus. They began to mutter. They began to, talk bad. Look, he's gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus, write this down. A person chooses to live a life of criticism and complaining. There's no one in here that can say, you don't know what I've been through. Okay? No, you know what? I don't know what you've been through. But I know what I've been through. And I know what other people that have been into my office have been through. And I know about other people that are serving the Lord faithfully with all their heart, dedicated, and I know what they've been through. But a person chooses to live a life of criticism and complaining. A person chooses to take whatever life has handed them and go one way or the other. And be a person of verse 7 that just sees all this going on and complain and criticize and mutter. Or a person chooses to be a person of gratitude and generosity. It doesn't matter what you've been through, it's what you do with it. And the attitude you choose to have. Because no matter what we go through, if we practice the recipe for gratitude that we read a couple minutes ago, that we let the peace of Christ, the members of the body, that we let the Word of God rule in us richly, that no matter what we continue to serve in some type of area, and no matter what we continue to be people of worship, we're going to be people of gratitude and generosity. Can I preach to you here? See, as I mentioned earlier, gratitude focuses in on what we have, not what we don't have. Gratitude focuses in on what we can do, not what we cannot do. Gratitude focuses in on not so much where we've been, but where the Lord is taking us. Okay? And let me add this to the list. Verse 10, the Son of Man came to seek and save that what was lost. Listen. Gratitude focuses in on what's been saved, not what's been lost. Okay? See, the people of Israel became ungrateful to the Lord because they started focusing in on everything they didn't have anymore in Egypt. They weren't looking ahead to what God was going to do. They weren't looking ahead to the promised land. They were looking at their inconvenience right there and some discomfort in a brief period. It could have only been 11 days in the desert, but they ended up staying there 40 days. How many of you know ungratefulness, complaining, and criticism will get you in a rut and keep you someplace longer than God originally intended for you? Anybody with me this morning? Okay. And here's, let me preach to you right here. Gratitude focuses in on what's been saved, not what's been lost. Gratitude focuses in on what's ahead, not what's behind. Okay, so let me make this statement to you. Church, allow Jesus to heal you from being a victim and transform you into a victor. Because victims focus in on everything that's been lost, on everything we don't have, on everything we don't do. But a victor focuses in on all that's ahead. Anybody with me? Listen, a victim complains. A victor celebrates. You know, in his book, 5 Love Languages, Dr. Gary Chapman briefly explains this concept, and it's just awesome. And what Dr. Gary Chapman explains is, he says you can have a couple, and they both really love each other, but they grew up different. And let's just say, you know, this little boy knew that he was loved because his mom would always hold him and hug him. And so he grew up, and his love language, and he mentions 5, and one of them is physical touch. So this boy, as he gets older, he knows that his wife loves him because she's always holding his hand or hugging him or whatever. That's how he feels loved. Okay? The problem is that his wife grew up, and she grew up with a dad that would always get her up in the morning and make her breakfast, and when she was running late, he would make her bed for her. And so that's how she knew she was loved. And so she grows up, and she wants to be loved that way, and so she's always doing things for her husband. And so you have 2 people that really love each other, but he's always touching her, and she's like, man, can't get this guy to get his hands off of me. Why doesn't he wash the car once in a while? Why doesn't he wash the dishes once in a while? Why? Because that's her love language. And him, on the other hand, it's like, man, she's always in the kitchen. She's always baking or doing something. Why doesn't she just come here and sit next to me and hold my hand? And you see, the book teaches you how to love your spouse in their love language. Are you following me? Well, he wrote another, that was so successful, he wrote another book, and it's called The 5 Apology Languages. Okay? And basically, he came up with 5 ways that, once again, let's just say me, for instance, I'm a certain way, and I only feel that the person's apology is sincere or genuine, and I want to make amends with them when they do it this way. And he breaks it into 5 ways. One is that they say something. And once again, you have the couple, and let's just say the husband, all he wants to hear is, I'm sorry. But then let's just say her, for instance, she doesn't want to hear any words. She just wants flowers. Or she just wants him to never do that again. Okay? And so he's saying, I'm sorry, and she's like, whatever. Because all she wants to hear is, and maybe it's not just I want to hear I'm sorry. She wants to hear, you know, that he understands what he did and explain, this is what I did wrong. It's just different languages. Are you following me? Amen. One of the 5 apology languages is restitution. That don't say anything, don't buy me flowers, just make up specifically for what you did. So let's just say hubby accidentally broke a favorite vase. Well, go online and do your research, get that vase again, replace that vase, and that's going to make it up. Are you following me? Okay, write this down. Zacchaeus expressed his remorse and gratitude at the same time through restitution. See, he showed the Lord and he showed the people, I'm really great. I feel bad for what I did, but I'm so grateful to the Lord at the same time. I'm going to give half my money to the poor, and whoever I harmed, I'm going to pay them back 4 times whatever I cheated them. Zacchaeus expressed his remorse and gratitude through restitution.